The crack of bone echoed through the kitchen like a gunshot. Sebastian's world shattering as his father's boot connected with his shin. Pain exploded, white-hot and unrelenting. But it was the words that cut deeper. Now your legs match your life. Boy. He crumpled to the linoleum. Tears blurring the audition script, clutched in his hand the one for the queer theater showcase that could change everything. Blood trickled warm down his calf, pooling with the spilled coffee from his mug. But Sebastian didn't scream. Not because he couldn't, but because he'd learned long ago that giving his father the satisfaction of his agony only fueled the man's rage. At 22, in the sleepy Rust Belt town of Erie, Pennsylvania, Sebastian Hale had built walls thicker than the steel mills that once choked the sky here. Walls to hide the boy who'd stolen glances at the quarterback in high school gym class. The one who'd whispered secrets to his reflection in the fogged bathroom mirror after his first kiss with a boy behind the bleachers. Walls that were cracking now, under the weight of a dream too big for this two-bedroom ranch house on Maple Street. His father, Harlan Hale, loomed over him like a storm cloud, chest heaving, face twisted in that familiar brew of disgust and despair. Harlan was 58, a laid-off welder with calloused hands that had once built bridges but now only broke things, mostly Sebastian's spirit. You think prancing on some stage with your fairy friends is gonna fix you? Harlan spat, wiping sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. The audition was in 3 hours at the Pittsburgh Playhouse, a 2-hour drive away. For echoes of us, a raw, unflinching play about queer lives in Middle America. Sebastian had poured his soul into the callback script, a monologue about a son loving his father despite the hate, about legs that carried you forward even when they buckled. Sebastian's breath came in shallow gasps, his free hand pressing against the floor for leverage. The pain was a living thing, gnawing up his leg, but he forced his eyes up to meet Harlan's. It's not about fixing me, Dad. It's about being me. The words tasted like ash, but they were outbrave, foolish, true. Harlan's laugh was a bark, devoid of humor. Being you. That's what got your mother in the grave, moping over your issues instead of facing real life. His wife, Elena, had died 5 years ago from breast cancer. Her final days a blur of chemo and quiet pleas for Harlan to love the boy as he is. He'd buried that plea with her, letting grief twist into something uglier. Sebastian dragged himself toward the counter, every inch a battlefield. The audition sheet fluttered from his fingers, landing face up, his character, Alex, a young trans man fighting for visibility in a town that preferred invisibility. He'd chosen it because it mirrored his own hidden truths, not trans, but gay in a world that still whispered freak behind closed doors. At the community college in town, he'd found a sliver of freedom in the theater club, where rainbow flags hung unapologetically and stories like his weren't tragedies but triumphs. There, he'd met Theo Ramirez, 23, with sun-kissed skin from his Mexican-American roots, curly black hair that fell like a halo, and eyes like melted chocolate that saw straight through Sebastian's armor. They'd met 6 months ago during rehearsals for a short film project. Theo, the cinematographer with dreams of Sundance, capturing Sebastian's raw vulnerability on camera. Their first kiss had been under a street lamp after a late-night rap party, tentative and electric, tasting of cheap beer and possibility. You're a storm wrapped in sunlight, Theo had murmured against his lips, and Sebastian had believed him, if only for that night. But now, as Harlan stomped toward the back door, muttering about disgracing the family name, Sebastian's phone buzzed on the counter. Theo's name lit the screen. On my way. You ready to slay? Sebastian's heart clenched. He couldn't let this break him, not today. Not when the audition could land him a spot in the ensemble. A chance to voice the stories that had saved him. Gritting his teeth, he hauled himself up, leaning on the fridge for support. The family photo mocked him at 10, grinning gap-toothed between his parents. Before the whispers started, before Harlan's beers turned bitter, the drive to Pittsburgh was a haze of agony and adrenaline. Theo picked him up in his beat-up Honda Civic, concern etching lines on his forehead the moment he saw Sebastian limp from the house. Jesus. Seb. What happened? Theo's voice was soft, urgent, as he guided Sebastian into the passenger seat, his hand lingering on Sebastian's arm like an anchor. Sebastian waved it off at first, but Theo's gaze patient. Fear cracked him open. Dad. He found the script. Said I was throwing away my future. The words tumbled out as they merged onto I-90. The Pennsylvania hills blurring past in shades of autumn gold. Theo's jaw tightened, his fingers intertwining with Sebastian's over the gear shift. Your future's not his to break. And that leg. Well, ice it. Rapithal. Channel it into the monologue. Make him feel every goddamn crack. Theo had his own scars, disowned at 19 by parents who couldn't reconcile their Catholic faith with their son's queerness. Now crashing on friends' couches while hustling freelance gigs. But where Sebastian internalized, Theo externalized, churning pain into art, into fire. It was what drew them together, that shared alchemy of hurt into hope. By the time they pulled into the Playhouse lot, Sebastian's shin throbbed like a second heartbeat. But Theo had rigged a makeshift brace from an old scarf and sports tapes scavenged from his trunk. You look like a warrior, Theo teased, pressing a kiss to Sebastian's temple. Inside, the theater buzzed with nervous energy, actors pacing, directors murmuring, the air thick with coffee and ambition. Sebastian's callback was at 2 p.m., slotted between a non-binary poet from Philly and a drag queen from Cleveland. He signed in, heart hammering, and sank into a seat in the lobby, script trembling in his hands. The wait was torture. Every laugh from the audition room twisted the knife where they better. Braver. His mind replayed Harlan's boot. The snap. The sneer. What if this was it? The moment his father's hate won. Theo sat beside him, thumb tracing circles on Sebastian's knee, the uninjured one whispering stories of past auditions gone wrong, but leading to right. Remember my first short? The actor flubbed lines. But the raw fuck-up got me the gig. Authenticity. Seb. That's your superpower. When his name was called Sebastian Hale, Alex from Echoes, the room tilted. He stood, leg protesting with a sharp stab, and limped onto the stage. The director, a wiry woman named Lena with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes, tilted her head. You okay there? Sebastian nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. Just. Life imitating art. The lights dimmed. The piano struck the opening chord, and he launched into the monologue. Alex stands in the ruins of his father's garage, tools scattered like broken promises. His voice started shaky, but as the words flowed, so did the pain channeling the boot, the blood, the buried love. He gestured wildly, leg buckling once, forcing him to catch himself on an imaginary workbench. The audience directors, fellow actors leaned forward, caught in the storm of it. You think legs carry the weight? No. Dad, it's the heart that drags us forward. Splintered and screaming. By the end, tears streamed unchecked, his shin a distant roar beneath the roar of truth. The room erupted in applause. Lena standing first. Sebastian. That was visceral. We need you in this. He floated off stage, Theo enveloping him in a crushing hug. Told you. Storm and sunlight. But elation soured as his phone vibrated. Harlan. Heard you're playing pretend in the city. Don't come home broken more than you are. Sebastian's grip tightened on the device. The high crashing low. That night, in Theo's cramped apartment overlooking the Allegheny River, They celebrated quietly take-out Thai and a bottle of cheap Merlot. Sebastian's leg was propped on pillows, iced and elevated, but the ache lingered like regret. Theo knelt before him, unwrapping the brace with gentle fingers, tracing the bruise like a map of battles fought. This mark, it's yours now, not his. Their eyes met, and the air thickened with unspoken fears. The audition win was a door cracked open, but Harlan's shadow loomed large. Sebastian pulled Theo up, their lips meeting in a kiss that started soft, exploratory, then deepened into something desperate, hands roaming with the urgency of lovers stealing time. Theo's touch was reverent, mapping Sebastian's body like sacred ground collarbones. The dip of his waist, the curve of his hip. I love you. Theo breathed against his neck, the words of vow in the dim lamplight. Sebastian's heart stuttered. He'd felt it blooming for months, but hearing it aloud was a lifeline. I love you too, he whispered back, pulling Theo closer, their bodies aligning in a tangle of limbs and longing. It was messy, passionate nails scraping skin, breaths mingling in gasps, a reclaiming of what Harlan had tried to shatter. As they moved together, sweat slick and synchronized, Sebastian felt whole, the pain in his leg fading to a dull hum beneath the rhythm of their shared pulse. Dawn painted the room in pinks and golds, Theo asleep beside him, arm draped possessively over Sebastian's waist. But peace was fleeting. A knock rattled the door, insistent, angry. Sebastian's stomach dropped. Harlan. How he'd tracked them here. Sebastian didn't know, maybe a mutual friend from the mill, or sheer paternal paranoia. Theo stirred, eyes widening as Sebastian limped to the door, peering through the peephole. His father's face, red-veined and resolute, filled the frame. Open up, son. We ain't done. Harlan's voice boomed through the wood. Sebastian's hand hovered on the knob. Theo now at his side, hand on his shoulder. You don't have to, Theo murmured. But Sebastian did, because running had kept him small, and small wasn't enough anymore. He swung the door open, bracing against the frame as Harlan barreled in, eyes narrowing at the disheveled bed, the scent of them still hanging in the air. You slimy little, Harlan lunged. But Theo stepped forward, body taut like a shield. Mister. Hale. Easy. This is about talking, not fighting. Harlan's gaze flicked between them, disgust curling his lip. Talking. About how you're ruining him, dragging him into your filth. The word landed like a slap, but Sebastian stepped between them, voice steady despite the tremor in his leg. It's not filth, Dad. It's love. Real. The kind Mom wanted for us both. Harlan recoiled as if struck, Elena's name a ghost in the room. He sank onto the edge of the couch, hands trembling. She didn't. She wouldn't understand this. But his voice cracked, grief bleeding through the hate. Sebastian knelt when sing as best he could, meeting his father's eyes. She did. Her last words to me. Be brave. Mi cielo. For you. For me. This is me being brave. The silence stretched, heavy as the river outside. Harlan's shoulders slumped, the fight draining like air from a punctured tire. I lost her. And now you. It was an absolution. Not yet, just a fracture in the armor. Theo watched quietly, his presence a quiet strength. When Harlan finally stood, he paused at the door. Fix that leg. And call your aunt. She misses you. The door clicked shut, leaving echoes. Sebastian collapsed against Theo, sobs racking him not from pain, but release. He didn't hit me. Theo held him tight. First step. As weeks blurred into rehearsals, Sebastian's leg healed Croqueta's slight limp that Lena wove into Alex's character, making it more real. Theo filmed behind the scenes. Their love deepening in stolen moments. Late-night script reads with wine. Walks along the river where hands swung free. Unashamed. But drama brewed. A local paper caught wind of echoes, twisting it into a controversial queer agenda invading family values. Harlan's old mill buddies picketed the theater opening night. Signs reading, "Protect our sons." Sebastian's phone lit with had-a voicemails from strangers. Texts calling him abomination. Theo's ex, a jealous producer named Kyle, leaked audition tapes online, spinning them as exploitative sob stories. The pressure mounted. Rehearsals fracturing under stress. Cast members dropping out from threats. One stormy evening, as thunder rattled the playhouse windows, Sebastian confronted Lena. "Is it worth it? If it destroys us?" She cupped his face. Motherly. "Art doesn't destroy. Darling, it rebuilds. Your story. It's the bridge Harlan couldn't build." Inspired, Sebastian poured it all into final run-throughs. His limp a metaphor for perseverance. Theo's camera capturing the fire in his eyes. Opening night arrived like a battlefield dawn. The house was packed supporters in rainbow pins. Protesters outside chanting under rain-slick ponchos. Sebastian peeked from the wings. Heard a war drum. Then, in the third row, he saw him, Harlan. Alone. Face unreadable. Sebastian's breath hitched. Theo squeezed his hand. "Go own it." The curtain rose. Sebastian's monologue hit like lightning raw. Unfiltered. The limp adding gravity to every step. The audience gasped. Wept. Cheered. Harlan sat stone still. But when the lights came up for bows, tears gleamed on his cheeks. Backstage, as bouquets rained, Harlan approached. Voice gruff. Proud. Of the man you're becoming. Sorry, don't fix bones. But it's a start. He extended a hand tentative. Trembling. Sebastian took it, pulling him into a hug. The first in years. Theo joined them. The three forming an unlikely triad. "Welcome to the family, Mr. Hale." Harlan chuckled wetly. "Call me Dad." Outside, protesters dispersed under clearing skies. Rainbows arching overhead a sign. Perhaps. Months later, echoes toured nationally. Sebastian's performance earning off-Broadway buzz. He and Theo moved to a tiny Brooklyn walk-up. Legs intertwined under quilts. Dreams shared like breaths. The limp remained. A badge of survival. But Sebastian walked taller. Unbowed. In quiet moments, he'd trace Theo's tattoos. Whispering, "You were right, storm and sunlight." And in the heart of America, where hate once knocked him down, love had lifted him higher. The tour bus rumbled through the flatlands of Ohio. Exhaust fumes mingling with the scent of cornfields under a relentless July sun. Sebastian shifted in his seat. The familiar twinge in his shin a reminder that some scars whispered louder on long hauls. 6 months since opening night, and Echoes of Us had become a phenomenon, a gritty mosaic of queer testimonies that packed houses from Cleveland to Chicago. Critics called it a thunderclap for the heartland. But for Sebastian, it was therapy on wheels, each performance an exorcism of Harlan's boot. Each curtain call a defiance. Theo sprawled beside him, laptop balanced on knees. Editing footage for their joint projected documentary, weaving the play's backstage chaos with personal vlogs. "Check this," Theo said, tilting the screen. Grainy clips of Harlan's first awkward visit to rehearsals, the man fumbling a coffee cup, nodding stiffly at drag queen co-stars, even cracking a joke about those heels taller than my ego. Sebastian laughed, warmth spreading. Harlan's transformation was slow. Seismic weekly calls evolving from grunts to stories of Elena's hidden pride parades in the 80s. Her secret stash of Glad newsletters under the mattress. But progress wasn't linear. Last week's stop in Dayton had unearthed old wounds when a heckler in the crowd-spitting image of Harlan in his prime yelled "sissy." Mid-monologue, Sebastian faltered, leg buckling under stage lights. The house gasping. He powered through, ad-libbing. Yeah, sissy and proud, turning venom to victory. Backstage, Theo had held him as shakes racked his frame. "You're unbreakable," Theo murmured, lips brushing his forehead. That night, their lovemaking was fierce, reclaiming Theo's hands pinning wrists. Sebastian arching with a gasp. The bus's gentle sway sinking their rhythm like a private sea. Now, as the bus idled at a rest stop, Sebastian's phone buzzed. "Aunt Maria, Harlan's asking about Thanksgiving. Says he wants to meet that Ramirez boy properly." Progress. Maria, Elena's sister, had been the bridge-fierce matriarch in Cleveland, with a laugh like church bells and a zero tolerance for bullshit. She'd hosted their first post-reunion dinner, Harlan carving turkey with uncharacteristic gentleness, Theo charming him with tales of Abuela's tamales. Family's messy. Maria had toasted, but love glues the cracks. Sebastian pocketed the phone, stretching his leg. The limp had settled into a companion, not a chain. Physical therapy twice weekly, courtesy of the tour's insurance, turning weakness to strength. He'd even joked in interviews, "My dad's gift that keeps on giving motivation with every step." Laughter masked the therapy sessions where tears flowed freer than on stage. Unpacking layers of shame peeled back like onion skin. The next gig was in Kansas City, a conservative stronghold where billboards preached traditional values and rainbow flags were rarer than honest politicians. Lena had warned them, expect pushback, but lean in. That's where the magic happens. The cast buzzed with nerves. Jada, the non-binary lead, practicing comebacks. Marcus, the elder drag mentor, sewing protest patches onto jackets. Sebastian and Theo roomed together now, their bunk a cocoon of scripts and sex. Whispered, "I love yous," lulling to sleep amid snores. Unloading at the Midland Theater, a swarm of supporters greeted them. Local PFLAG chapter waving signs, echoes heard loud and clear. But shadows lurked, a cluster of churchgoers across the street, pamphlets fluttering like angry birds. One man, bull-necked in a polo, locked eyes with Sebastian, mouthing "faggot." The words slithered under skin. Harlan's echo. Theo noticed, arms slipping around Sebastian's waist. "Ignore the noise. We've got the stage." Rehearsals were electric, the cast feeding off adrenaline. Sebastian's Alex had a volveless victim. More Victor. The limp choreographed into defiant struts. During notes, Lena pulled him aside. "You're glowing, kid. Whatever elixir you're on, bottle it." Theo, from the tech booth, winked. Their relationship had deepened through the grind, Theo proposing they co-direct the doc, Sebastian agreeing with a kiss that tasted of future. But cracks showed that night over diner burgers. Jada confided, "My folks cut me off last month, said the play's corrupting me." Marcus shared war stories from Stonewall-era raids. Sebastian listened, guilt flickering as Harlan was trying, while others' families were fortresses of rejection. "It's not a race," Theo said later, back in their room, as Sebastian paced. "Your healing doesn't diminish theirs." He drew Sebastian to the bed, undressing him slowly, kisses trailing like apologies down his chest, over the faint scar on his shin. "Let me worship you," Theo breathed, taking him in hand, mouth following with deliberate heat. Sebastian arched, fingers threading Theo's curls. Release crashing like waves cathartic. Connective. Opening night, dawn muggy. The theater a hive. Matinee sold out to a mix, curious straights, fierce allies, skeptical locals. Sebastian peaked pre-show, Harlan, in the fifth row, fidgeting with a program. He'd driven 8 hours solo. Texting support. Not sabotage. Heart swelling. Sebastian hit the stage. The monologue flowed like blood raw. Vital. Midway. A shout from the balcony. Repent. Gasps rippled. Sebastian paused. Leg trembling. Then locked eyes with the voicey woman. Face twisted in zeal. Repent. For loving. For living. His voice amplified. The house hanging on. This limp. It's from a father who feared what he couldn't control. But look, I am walking toward you. Toward truth. Silence. Then thunderous applause. The heckler stormed out. But Harlan stood. Clapping hardest. Post-show. The lobby buzzed. Harlan enveloped Sebastian in a bear hug. Whispering. You made me see her your moment, you. Theo clapped his back. Beer on me. Dad. Over pints at a dive bar. Harlan opened up, after Elena. I drowned in church pamphlets. Thinking hate was holy. But watching you. It's love that's sacred. Tears misted his eyes. Jada joined. Tentative. And Harlan listened drearily to her story. Nodding. Takes guts. Kid. The high carried into after party. Cast dancing to queer anthems. Sebastian and Theo swaying slow. Foreheads touching. This is us. Theo said. Building worlds. But dawn brought news. Kyle. Theo's ex. Had escalated, leaking twisted expose emails claiming the tour was grift for sympathy. Online trolls swarmed. Doxing cast members. Threats flooding inboxes. Sebastian woke to Theo pale. Scrolling. He's saying I manipulated you for the doc, used your trauma. Rage boiled. We'll fight it. Lena rallied. Press conference. Legal threats. But the toll mounted, sleep evaded. Performances edged with paranoia. In Des Moines. A brick through the bus window shattered glass and illusions. Shards nicking Sebastian's arm. Theo blamed himself. I brought this ghost. Sebastian pulled him close. We face it together. That night, vulnerability turned intimate. Theo on his back. Sebastian above. Moving slow. Eyes locked. Breaths sinking in forgiveness. You're my home. Sebastian gasped. Climax shared like a secret. The scandal peaked in street. Lewis. Kyle crashing Q&A. Mic in hand. This is exploitation porn. Chaos erupted, shoves. Shouts. Security dragged him out. But damage lingered. Harlan. In town for the run. Cornered Kyle outside. Touch my boy again. And you'll limp too. The threat. Paternal and fierce. Went viral. Harlan Hale. Reformed homophobe. Defending his son. Reporters swarmed. In a tearful interview. Sebastian spoke. Hate knocked me down. But love, the unexpected kind, lifted me. Harlan beside him. I was the boot. Now. I'm the crutch. Views exploded. The doc's trailer dropping to acclaim. By tour's end in D.C. Fractures mended stronger. Sebastian proposed to Theo under cherry blossoms. Ring simple silver. Legs match life. Nars dance. Harlan walked Sebastian down the aisle at City Hall. Maria beaming. Vows exchanged, in storms and sun. The limp. A step in their rhythm. Proof that broken things. Loved right. Sing. Autumn leaves carpeted the Brooklyn sidewalks in fiery reds. Crunching under Sebastian's uneven gait as he and Theo navigated the chaos of move-in day. Their new Placia third-floor walk-up in Williamsburg. With exposed brick and a fire escape perfect for stargazing, smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Boxes stamped, Hail Ramirez, teetered in the hall. A testament to the life they'd forged from tour bus transients. At 23 now, Sebastian felt the weight of years lighter. The limp a mere footnote in his stride. Theo hefted the last crate. Muscles straining under a tank top. Sweat glistening. Home sweet chaos. He grinned, dropping it with a thud. Sebastian tackled him against the wall. Kiss hungry and celebratory. Our chaos. 6 months post-tour. The play's off-Broadway run had cemented their name Sebastian as breakout star. Theo's doc. Limps and loves. Snagging Tribeca nods. Harlan visited monthly. Train rides from Erie filled with baseball talk and tentative pride stories. Last trip. He'd even joined a PFLAG meeting. Emerging shell-shocked, but softer. Your mom's smiling somewhere, he'd said, clapping Sebastian's shoulder. But roots dug deep with thorns. Casting calls for Sebastian dried up post-echoes typecast as the gay sob story. Agents warned. Theo's freelance dried too. Kyle's smear lingering like oil on water. Rent loomed. Maria's check a lifeline, but pride's poison. We're not charity cases. Sebastian snapped one night over ramen. Leg aching from a fruitless audition trek. Theo's eyes flashed. It's family, not pity. The fight simmered. Unspoken resentments bubbling Sebastian's envy of Theo's camera ease. Theo's fear of Sebastian's stage pull eclipsing them. They made up in the shower. Steam cloaking apologies. Bodies slick and urgent, Theo's back to the tile. Sebastian's hands gripping hips. Thrusts deep and forgiving. We're in this. Theo panted. Release shuddering through them. But doubt lingered. A shadow in the steam. Winter bit early. Snow blanketing the city in hush. Sebastian landed a gig voiceover for a Queer Y audiobook. Out of the closet. Into the storm, narrating teen comings out with raw timbre. Theo pitched the doc sequel to Netflix. Weaving Harlan's arc. Rejections piled. But a queer film fest invite sparked hope. Panel on trauma to triumph. En route by subway. Bundled against chill. Sebastian's phone rang Harlan. Voice thick. Bad news. Son. Mills petitioning for recall old boys, saying I'm gone soft. Laughter edged hysteria. Defend me. Or them. Sebastian's gut twisted. You. Dad. Always. Theo squeezed his hand. The panel was fire, Sebastian sharing limp origins. Audience rapped. Q&A turned raw teen asking. How do you forgive? Harlan's words echoed in his mind. One step. Then another. Post-panel buzz led to a callback for Sebastian. A lead in Fractured Frames. A film about estranged dads and queer sons. Theo tagged along to set scout. Their chemistry crackling with director. You too. Electric. She said. Nights blurred into script reads. Theo directing mock scenes. Kisses interrupting lines. Intimacy deepened exploring edges. Theo blindfolding Sebastian one evening. Feathers and whispers building to frenzy. Trust absolute as peaks crested. Spring thawed doubts. Harlan's recall vote failed his speech. Halting but honest. Swaying holdouts. Hate broke my boy. Love mended us. He sent video. Gruff pride shining. Sebastian aced the film audition. Leg scripted as characters war wound. Theo's sequel greenlit. Low budget, but theirs. But Kyle resurfaced email to Theo. Miss me. Got dirt on your limp prints. Attached, blurry photos. Sebastian's high school yearbook page circled. Whispers of closet skeletons. Panic spiked. He dug into my past. Sebastian's voice cracked. Old shames surging the fumbling first time with a teammate. Hushed up. The suicide note drafted at 17. Torn and burned. Theo's face hardened. We go public. Own it. They drafted a joint post-draw. Unfiltered. Our scars. Badges. Kyle's games. Noise. It exploded. Allies rallying. Kyle's credibility crumbling under backlash. Harlan called. Proud. And if he shows, I've got a wrench with his name. Summer sweltered. Fractured frames, wrapping principle. Wrap party, Sebastian and Theo slow dancing under string lights. Harlan toasting awkwardly. To legs that lead. Laughter flowed. But as night deepened, Theo pulled Sebastian aside. Marry me. For real this time. Ring glinting vintage. Elena's heirloom from Maria. Tears pricked. Yes. Wedding planning wove chaos and joy. Venue a Pittsburgh park. Guests a tapestry cast mates. Flag folks. Mill workers thawed by Harlan. Vows under oaks, Sebastian's. You saw my break and built the bridge. Theo's. Sun to your storm. Forever. Harlan walked him. Grip firm. She'd love this. Honeymoon in the Keys beaches. Sunsets. Lazy love, Theo tracing scars. Sebastian exploring with tongue and touch. Nights endless in rhythm. Back home. Life bloomed. Sebastian's film premiered to acclaim. No limp pity. Just power. Theo's doc streamed. Harlan a breakout, reformed dad star. One crisp fall eve. Sebastian limped home to find Harlan on the stoop. Pie and ham. Maria's recipe. Missed you boys. Dinner stretched. Stories swapping. Harlan admitting. Therapy's helping. Turns out. I'm queer for second chances. Laughter sealed it. Years folded. Kids via surrogate. A boy with Theo's curls. A girl with Sebastian's fire. Harlan doted. Stories for bedtime. The limp. Grandkids' fascination. Papa Seb's magic step. In quiet. Sebastian reflected, knocked down. Yes, but risen. Loved. Whole. Life's legs matched not in breakage, but in the dance. The nursery's nightlight cast a soft glow, painting stars on the ceiling as Sebastian rocked little Matteo to sleep. The boy's tiny fist clutching his shirt. At 28, fatherhood had reshaped him. The limp, now a gentle sway. Sinking with lullabies. Theo hovered in the doorway, exhaustion etching his face from a dawn edit session. But his smile was pure light. Our little director's out. He whispered, crossing to kiss Sebastian's temple. Like clockwork. 3 years married. 2 kids under 2. And their Brooklyn brownstone hummed with chaos. Elena's giggles echoing from the playpen. Diapers and deadlines strewn like confetti. Fractured Frames had Oscar buzz, launching Sebastian into voice work podcasts on queer resilience. Cameos in inclusive series. Theo's production company. Stormlight Films. Thrived. Docs on family reckonings his signature. Harlan FaceTimed weekly. Grandpa duty his joy. Shipping eerie applesauce by the case. But balance teetered. A new script landed Sebastian as a queer dad in Nested Wounds, mirroring their life too closely. It's us, he told Theo over coffee. Leg propped. Raw. But healing. Theo nodded. Eyes shadowed. Just. Don't let it reopen yours. Filming Min L.A. Relocation. 6 months skids in tow. Harlan volunteering Erie's guest spot. Packing unearthed ghosts, the audition script. Yellowed. Harlan's boot print faint on the page. Sebastian traced it. Throat tight. Think he'd guest star. Theo chuckled. In a heartbeat. Man's a natural ham now. L.A. Shimmered. Palm trees swaying like promises. The bungalow rental overlooked hills. Kids splashing in a kiddie pool while crew set up. Harlan arrived mid-shoot. Broad frame dwarfing the craft table. Hollywood. Fancier than the mill. He bonded instant with Matteo, tossing him air. Gruff tales of Papa Seb's wild days. On set, Harlan's cameo as gruff uncle stole scenes improvising lines that cracked cast up, legs heel. Hearts take workin'. Shoots flowed. Sebastian's character navigating custody battles. Echoes of his youth. One scene confronting a homophobic exit bone deep. Tears real as cameras rolled. Theo. Producing shadows. Caught it raw. Cut. That's gold. Director called. But Sebastian retreated to trailer. Shakes hitting. Theo followed. Door locking. Breathe. Hands gentle. He knelt. Massaging the shin old habit then higher. Unzipping with intent. Let me ground you. Mouth warm. Deliberate. Sebastian's fingers fisted hair. Release a purge tension, uncoiling in waves. Harlan knocked post scene. Heard you nailed it. Like that audition. Awkward pause. Proud. Son. Every damn day. Sebastian hugged him fierce. Love you. Dad. Midway. Scandal stirred tabloid digging Kyle's corpse. Twisting Harlan's reformation as PR stunt for gay agenda. Trolls resurfaced. Doxing the kids' daycare. Theo raged. Enough. They lawyered up. Public statement. Our family's real flaws. Fights. And all. Harlan added video. I was the villain once. Now. Ally. Back off my grandbabies. Backlash, boomerang supporters flooding. A GoFundMe for queer family legal aid exploding. Nested wounds, rap triumphant. Premiere in Toronto, a family affair. Kids in tiny tuxes. Harlan tearing up at credits. That's my blood. He boasted to strangers. Homecoming brought normalcy park picnics. Theo's next pitch, family docuseries. But Elena's fever spiked one night. Blurring lights. Hours waiting. Sebastian paced. Limp forgotten in terror. Not her. He begged silently. Flu. They said scare passed. But vulnerability lingered. Theo held vigil. We're unbreakable chain. That dawn. With kids asleep. They reclaimed, slow. Sacred Theo entering gentle. Eyes locked. Movements a vow. Peaks whispered. Together. Fall deepened bonds. Harlan proposed eerie weekends mill museum tours. Fishing holes where he'd teach knots. Ties that hold. He'd say. Sebastian watched him with Elena. Splashing. Heart full. The limp. Her game. Race. Papa. He'd feign loss. Laughter healing deeper than time. A decade on. Nested Emmys lined shelves. Sebastian directing now queer stories. Family Course. Theo's series. Mended matches. Ran seasons. Harlan recurring. Kids grew, Mateo filmmaking. Elena acting bold. Anniversary Eve. Under Brooklyn stars. Sebastian Neltraverse proposal style. Eternal dance. Theo. Tears. Always. Harlan officiated vow renewal. Voice steady. From broken to blessed. Life script. Unwritten. But there's Slimpson loves. Enduring. Neon lights flickered over the Vegas Strip. Casting erratic glows on the hotel suite where Sebastian nursed a scotch. Leg elevated on ottoman. At 32. The awards circuit had become routine, mended matches up for Doc Series Emmy. Theo pacing beside him in tux. Curls tamed for red carpet. Breathe. Babe. We've earned this. Kids safe with Maria in Cleveland. Harlan en route from Erie. The night hummed anticipation. Sebastian's shin ached from Heels Custom Orthotics, a must now. The limp a signature fans adored. The walk of warriors. Post-nested. He'd pivoted to advocacy notes at Pride events. Co-founding Limbs of Love. Scholarships for queer youth in therapy. Theo's empire grew. But burnout shadowed. Am I still your storm? Sebastian asked nights. Doubts creeping. The ceremony blurred cheers. Harlan's table grinned wide as Theo's name echoed winner. Sebastian hooped. Kiss cam zooming. Backstage. Harlan bear-hugged. My boys world beaters. Champagne flowed. After party a whirl, celebs toasting. Kyle's faded ghost irrelevant. But high crashed dawn email from producer, fractured sequel. Your arc's central relapse drama. Sebastian's gut nodded. Dredging old wounds for clicks. Theo. Hungover. Sighed. Art or exploitation. Fight brood. Word sharp. You chase ghosts. I build futures. Doors slam. Theo out for air. Alone. Sebastian called Harlan. Dad. Talk me down. Voice gravelly. Remember the boot. You chose forward. Don't let scripts pull back. Wisdom landed. Apology text to Theo. Fire escape. Rooftop wait. City sprawl below. Theo arrived. Wordless embrace. Missed you. Hands roamed. Urgent pants shoved. Theo's fingers probing. Sebastian gasping against railing. Release quick. Roar connection. Sequel greenlit. Boundaries set. No relapse. Focus growth. Filming in Pittsburgh homecoming. Harlan on set again. Advising authenticity. Kids visited. Mateo wide-eyed at movie magic. Elena stealing props. Shoots deepened. Sebastian's character forgiving. Not forgetting mirroring life. Mid-run. Crisis hit Harlan's heart scare. Stints in Philly ER. Flight panic. Sebastian driving white-knuckled. Theo kids cradling. Waiting room vigil. Harlan woke grumbling. Tougher than steel. But eyes softened. Regrets. Phew. You. Best plot twist. Laughter choked tears. Recovery wove family tighter. Harlan moving closer. Queen's apartment. Grandparent duties. Bedtime. Echoes readings. Limp lessons. Stumble. Stand. Sebastian's therapy evolved. Group sessions. Sharing boot night. Catharsis communal. Award season peaked. Sequel noms. Panel invites. 1. Conservative college. Bait. Can forgiveness heal hate? Sebastian spoke fire. Yes if owned. Q&A heated. Student yelling. Fake redemption. Harlan. Audience. Stood. Was me once. Real as this scar. Mic drop. Applause thundering. Spring bloomed projects. Sebastian's book. Match steps memoir. Limp to legacy. Theo adapting. Screenwrites buzz. Intimacy reignited date nights. Roleplay. Theo stranger at bar. Seduction slow burn to hotel frenzy. Bonds reforged. Summer idol. Family Cape Cod. Sans healing. Harlan teaching casts. Kids netting crabs. Evenings. Sebastian and Theo beach walks. Waves lapping. Empire's ours. Theo said. Sebastian, built on us. Fall brought launch book tour. Harlan signing copies. Proud papa. Reviews hailed. Humanity's anthem. A fan. Teen with crutch. Hugged. Your limp. My map. Sebastian teared. Harlan nodding. Winter quieted holiday eerie. Harlan's tree-trimmed rainbows. Toasts. To breaks that bend us better. New Year's. Kids asleep. Sebastian and Theo midnight waltz. Slow. Sensual clothes shedding. Floor love. Peaks synced with fireworks. Life layered. 35. Sebastian Broadway bound. Queer musical lead. Theo exec producing. Harlan dating widow from PFLAG. Gentle. Kids school stars. Pride pins proud. Reflection Eve. Sebastian journaled. Knocked down. Risen collective. Legs matched life. No transcended. In love's stride. Sirens wailed distant as Sebastian gripped the steering wheel. Rain-slicked Jersey Turnpike a blur under wipers. 36. And crises still ambushed Elena's school play tonight. But Harlan's call pulled. Slip. Son. Hips busted. Theo stayed with kids. Go. We're anchors. Heart raced. Limp forgotten in haste. Eerie hospital hum sterile. Harlan pale in bed. Hip pinned. Clumsy old fool ice on stairs. Sebastian sat. Hand clasping. Scared me. Dad. Grin weak. Takes more in gravity. Stories float Elena's first steps. Mateo's fish obsession. Harlan's girlfriend. Ruth. Arrived. Soft-spoken. Cookies in tow. Family's glue. She said. Recovery arc. Harlan rehabbing. Sebastian shuttling weekends. Theo video calling antics. Grandpa's pirate limp. Mateo cheered. Shoots paused. Sebastian guesting podcast saging queer icons. Wisdom shared. Hates echo fades. He told one. Harlan listening bedside. But strange show theater gig loomed. Broadway rainbow rhythms. Lead demanding. Rehearsals clashed care. Guilt gnawing. Theo mediated. Delegate. Maria's got weekends. Fights flickered. You're pulling away. Sebastian accused. Theo holding space. Makeup heated. Kitchen counter. Kids napping. Theo bending him over. Thrust claiming. Gasps muffled fire rekindled. Harlan's PT bonded them parallel bars. Steps synced. Like old times. Harlan joked. Boot memory light. Better ending. Ruth joined therapy. Group circles sharing. Sebastian opened. Forgave to free us both. Broadway previews electrified house packed. Theo front row. Kids with Maria. Limps choreographed. Defiant dances. Audience roaring. Critics raved. Hale's stride steals souls. Harlan. Cane in hand. Backstage tears. Mom's star. Post-curtain highs. Cast parties. Theo's hand possessive. Intimacy evolved tantra nights. Breath synced. Touches lingering. Peaks meditative. Deeper. Fall tour spun. National. Harlan tagging Chicago leg. Ruth 2. Meet cuties. Fans gifting braces. Stories swapped. One night. Motel dive. Harlan confided. Ruth's binu Elena suspected. Sebastian hugged. Love spectrum. Winter holidays fused eerie feast. Ruth's lax mingling pierogies. Kids performed echoes skits. Laughter healing. New Year's resolve. Harlan's. Live on Limpet. Spring surged careers. Sebastian's Tony nom. Theo's Oscar shortlist doc on intergenerational queer. Red carpet arm in arm. Harlan suited. My dynasty. But shadow loomed Ruth's cancer echo. Early stage. Harlan shattered private. Sebastian holding. Fight like mom. Rally. Fundraisers. Awareness spots. Sebastian voicing PSAs. Summer solstice. Beach vow renewals family circle. Harlan officiating. Ruth beaming chemo-free. Endless steps. They pledged. Aging graced. 40. Sebastian silver-threaded. Limp elegant. Directing off-Broadway. Mentoring. Theo graying charming. Producing inclusive. Kids teens. Mateo out. Boyfriend sweet. Elena fluid. Art fierce. Harlan's 80th. Surprise roast. Stories spilling boot to blessings. Dance floor. Kane's tapping rhythm. Sebastian and Theo leading. Love's legacy.